Loktargar. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, everyone's favorite orc warrior, and it's time for another orc mode workout. And you guys can see I kind of added the little micro plates to some of this stuff. I need to try to force myself to add more weight to the bar. And as usual, I'm skipping all the warm-ups on camera because I really don't need them. The video would be way too long if I threw all my warm-ups in. These would be like 15 to 17 minute workout videos when really it's only about 10-11 minutes of training at the most usually of actual work sets. So right now I'm cutting those out. But yes, I'm still doing warm-ups. Contrary to the myths, I'm not anti-warm-up. I just don't think they help with certain things. Now I'm noticing here, this is honestly my most comfortable squat position. I'm just kind of going back to similar what I was doing and just trying to get a good elbow position to the style I was using when I hit my 485 6 days in a row, right? I think that's what I need to do. That's my best leverages, and I really don't care what armchair critics say about my squat. I mean, people who don't know what they're looking at, again, it's ridiculous. I've had numerous coaches look at it. They've given me their advice, their critiques, and quite frankly, anyone who hasn't squatted at least 500 without wraps, I really don't need their advice on the squat unless they're a woman and they coach lifters regularly, and it might be different. But it's just such a waste of time. People chime in, but they don't like my low bar technique, and it's like, okay, that's fine. But I mean, I have squatted over 500 on camera before. As a middle-aged guy, and I have squatted 600 plus before as a younger man. So I mean, that's fine. I mean, I'm not interested in people's criticisms who just don't actually know how to squat themselves. I mean, I've just got to be honest about that. I mean, if you're a legitimate expert and you have some criticisms, that's cool. But if you're not and you actually don't know what you're looking at a certain point, you just have to be quiet and let people train. And that's the reality of it. That's just how I feel about it. Again, if people use saying silly stuff like good morning and when they're not even looking at my bar path or my lower back position, and it's like, sorry guys, that's not actually what's happening. I know what's happening, and there is stuff going on with different muscle balances, but it's absolutely not a good morning squat. And again, if someone thinks it is, that shows that they really don't know how to coach the squat. So I just ban those morons. I just don't have time for it. I'm busy trying to train and get stuff done. But all of that being said, squats were tough today, man. I needed nice long breaks between those to get all 5 reps. It was tough. Benching, I went ahead and added the micro plates, and it felt heavy today. But I'm cutting, and that's kind of the point. Right now, at this point in the game, if I want to retain muscle or I want to stimulate any growth, because let's be realistic here, I have to gain muscle on my training days and that night going to bed. So that's why my calories are a little higher, and then I'm eating a lot less on my off days from training. And I accept that, this is how this works, guys. And this is stuff I need to discuss with recomposition later. A successful recomposition just means that you gain muscle faster than you lose it and lose fat faster than you gain it. It doesn't mean that you don't gain and lose fat every week, and gain and lose muscle every week. So the name of the game here is, yes, I am trying to stimulate some muscle growth on my training days. I'm trying to grow and hopefully offset the muscle loss from my my bigger deficit days, because that is going to happen. And again, you got silly people at this point who are like, well, you're fat enough, you should be able to recomp. Well, that's a nice myth, but that would also require me to be losing a half pound a week, maybe 1 pound a month. That's not going to cut it. At this point in the game, I just need to cut as quickly as my appetite will allow for and retain as much muscle and strength as I can. And that means actively trying to go hard on every set. It means trying to add weight to the bar, picking the exercises that are going to give me the most bang for my buck. And that's what I'm doing. Some people are asking, how come you didn't bench on Friday? Because I only bench on workout A. Right? It's close grip on workout A. It's dips on workout B. It's rows on workout A, weighted pull-ups on workout B. That's my rotation, guys. Puff, puff, give, Brothers be getting shot for fucking up the rotation. But that aside, the benching was a little tough today. Other stuff wasn't so bad, but benching was a little tough. But I did add just a hair weight. Now, granted, I was doing sets with 275 when I was only doing 2 sets, but a lot of those ended up being 4. So trying to get 3 sets even with adding the micro plates to the 265 is tough. All 3 of these were really challenging sets for me. And again, it is what it is. I'm going to train as hard as my cut and my recovery will allow for. And that's what it comes down to. It's not going to be lack of effort. I'm going to come in and do what I'm capable of doing. I'm going to push it as hard as I can recover from and know my limits. You know, that's the one thing, guys. When you're cutting, it is easier to get hurt. So you do have to know your limits. You do have to know that you have them and accept them and stay within them. And I'm an experienced enough lifter, and I know my body well enough that I know my limits. And so again, I'm trying to push as hard as I can while staying within them. I'm trying to stimulate some adaptation. For those curious, the scale bumped up a hair again today. It was 221, but that's okay because I was down to 219 on Monday. That was a big swoosh. So it'll probably rise a little through the week, and then I expect probably, next Monday I may swoosh again. That's just how it goes. This is how it goes. But again, that's normal when you're undulating calories and stuff through the week, and particularly more carbs on training days, less carbs on the off days. You're going to see some fluctuations back and forth. And I think that's where I'm going to see my biggest swooshes is going to be on Mondays, because that's 2 days off from training, right? 2 days with lower carbs and lower calories in a row. I'm probably going to see my water drops come those Mondays each week. And in some cases it might come on Tuesday, because sometimes when you drop calories or carbs too low, your body retains water, and then when you give it a little bit of food, all of a sudden you swoosh down. It's just shifts in aldosterone and water retention and cortisol and all that stuff, all that good stuff. The press, I haven't looked at the footage yet. I tried to stay stricter without using any knee bend, just maybe a hair of hip drive. And I felt like they were cleaner, but let me actually watch them. Yep, second one was good. Third one was good. So I was trying to actively focus on that. I need to get that technique dialed in for that so that I'm not using any leg drive. These need to be strict presses. A little bit of hip drive, but no leg drive, And that's a comfortable weight for me to be doing 5s with right now. I think that's all I'm going to be able to handle for now. We'll see if that can increase over time. And like I said, guys, only thing that might go up appreciably will be the deadlift, because I've been sandbagging it, just to keep working my hook grip. And that's what I did today. I had been doing just 425 with the hook grip. Now I'm going to do 435 because that feels comfortable. I feel like I'm getting back in the form again on the hook grip, the technique I was able to use on it to pull 515 that time. Did I get to 520? I don't even remember. I would need to actually check my notes. But yeah, I've got to get that hook grip up. The goal is to eventually be able to hook grip 600 plus. That's going to take time. It's going to take time. And fortunately, I don't think that goal will be so dependent on body weight, because the deadlift isn't as dependent on body weight as a lot of your other lifts are. It's been the least correlated with that based upon all the data looking at it. But yeah, I managed to get that hook set correctly today. On that one, it felt good. I went over when I did the 435. I felt like I got the hook set really good. So I went ahead and held it at the top because I got it locked in right. And I feel like that's been my problem again, is just setting that hook and setting it in correctly before I pull the bar. And so people are like, what's with the fake tugs there? Well, if you're going to hook grip, actually there's something to that fake tug. What you're doing is just you're making sure that the hook is set correctly. Right, that's all we're doing. We're making sure that hook is set correctly, and that's why I pull it, and I pull that slack out again before I drop down and pull it. So you held it at the top because it was comfortable. I'm like, okay, now we're getting on point with that hook grip. It's coming along where I need it to be. And then we did some cheek curls. These went well today. Definitely felt my arms throbbing on these, though. Definitely felt my arms throbbing. And again, biceps are my weak link, so this extra, compound, because it is a compound. The way I'm doing this is a compound movement. It's not an isolation, and I got to remind people of that. This is a compound movement, and that's the idea, because the data is overwhelmingly supports the fact that isolation movements are useless. Sorry if anyone who's trying to tell you otherwise is trying to sell you a magical program, because I've looked at all the data over the years. I feel isolating muscles is useless, and so even if you're going to do a curl, there is something to not doing it strict. There's something to using some shoulder travel, so that, again, you do turn it into a compound movement, because it's undesirable to isolate a muscle. So it's just putting a focus. It's a smaller movement that's putting a focus on a smaller muscle that I feel needs to come up, and I feel like I can train it without messing up my recovery. So I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.